good lesson. Can anybody think of a good lesson that this story taught us? What did we learn from this story?
I think we learned that that it's important that you continue to do work and not to be lazy, because there'll be a time where you need the results of that work for survival.
So hard work pays off, so always do your best, and in the end you'll have a good resolution because of it.
Always do your best.
Now, going off of that, though, I was a little sad at the end, because when the grasshopper, if you go back to the end of the story, it talks about how the grasshopper went back to the ant when he had nowhere else to go, and he was cold and he was hungry, and he said, "Oh, my friend the ant, he can help me." And he goes back and he talks to the ant, and the grasshopper says, "Will you help me? I'm going to come eat some of your food." And the ant says, "No way. You didn't do any work."
I kind of disagree with that. I think the ant had all the right to say no because he was working this whole time, and the grasshopper did nothing but lounge on his chair. As the photographer, I pictured him with a drink or a lemonade and a straw, drinking and kind of laughing, he, while the ant was sweltering and sweating, and he was doing all this work. So I kind of disagree with you.
But I felt bad for the grasshopper.
I agree with you, Emily, because I think that, we talk all about how to be a good person or to be a good aunt. And, you want to hope that if you end up in the grasshopper's position that, hopefully someone would help you. And I felt like the ant was kind of mean about it. Not that he didn't have a right to be mean, but he was kind of rude.
It was kind of like tough love.
Yeah, that's a good word for it.
He could have helped him out, but he basically was giving him tough love. He was hoping that the grasshopper was going to learn a lesson from his lack of work, which is sad.
That was one of the questions I asked myself while I was reading. When I got to that part about the grasshopper didn't feel like singing anymore, he was cold and hungry, I thought, I wonder if the ant will save him and can help him. But I guess I know my answer now.
Right. The answer
I wondered then.
the ant did not help out.
No.
And I said, as the ant was doing all of this work, and as Vanessa said, he was lounging, drinking his lemonade, and not, doing any work, and he was laughing at the ant the whole time the ant was working, and the ant just kept his head down and kept working, and through all of that, torture that the grasshopper was doing.
Kind of picture a bully.
Right.
Grasshopper was a bully to the ant.
Do you think the ant should have stood up for himself and said something then, and said, "Listen, maybe you should do the same thing"?
He probably should have said it then. I don't know if he was a bully. I kind of want to disagree with you there. I think because I was the teacher, so it was my job to pick passages that I thought were important, and I had picked paragraph 3, where it kind of introduced the grasshopper, because in the second paragraph we learned all about the ant and what he was like, which kind of showed how he was a hard worker, and then we learned about the grasshopper. So when I had picked that passage, I was going to ask you guys, do you think he's lazy? Or is, because I don't know, do you guys think he was just lazy, or it was just, because you said, what did you say that I disagreed with you?
He was a bully.
I don't think he was necessarily a bully. I think it was just his style of what he was doing. He just disagreed with the ant because the ant was a hard worker and he wanted to just enjoy life. It wasn't like he was totally lazy. He was soaking in life and enjoying life at the moment. He didn't want to be caught up with working too hard and missing out on fun things.
Right, because in the text it says where the grasshopper was talking to the ant, it says, "Come rest a while, listen to my song. Summer is here and the days are long and bright. Why waste the sunshine in labor and
But
toil?"
see, I agree. I'm agreeing with what you say. Maybe bully was a strong word. However, I kind of feel that if I was the ant, I would think he's relying too much on my crop and my food and my hard work, and I don't want him to rely on me that much. So I don't think that's very fair.
It seems almost as if the grasshopper is very carefree.
Yes.
He's living the moment. Mm-hmm. So this is what's happening right now, and that's what I'm concerned about. And that's a trait that some people have, and sometimes that we need to get out of.
You should ponder about tomorrow a little more.
That was my headline for the journalist. The last line that someone wrote in, I don't know who it was, said, "Worry about tomorrow today," because I thought that was a really good phrase of how the ant sees life and how the grasshopper does not see life, because he doesn't worry about tomorrow at all. He worries about what's in front of him at that second. Probably doesn't even worry about the next hour or anything like that. So I feel like they're in two different completely mentalities and ways of living life.
Can I ask a question? As I was reading that before, we were talking how the grasshopper said, come rest a while and so forth. And then it said, why waste the sunshine in labor and toil? I didn't understand what that word toil meant. Did anybody pick up on that word?
That was one of the words that I looked up because I thought it was a really popular word. They use toil a lot. And it means that you're doing work that is difficult or unpleasant. So the grasshopper really thinks that that work is too hard and it's not something that you really should be doing or anything fun. So that's why.
Makes sense. Because it's why waste the sunshine in labor, and I know labor is hard work, and toil must be a synonym for labor.
I was, like I said, I was the teacher, so I know we're kind of just talking about the characters, like if they're different styles, but I had picked the passage, it was on page 2, paragraph 3, where, oh no, sorry, it was on, the second page, and basically where, because I did this as I was reading, I didn't do it after, so like when it started to talk about how it was getting into winter and, he had nowhere to shelter from the snow, I had thought, okay, this is a good part to kind of make a prediction, like, okay, what's going to happen to this grasshopper? And then I realized, like, oh, I never really thought about grasshoppers before when winter comes around, like, it's kind of, it's a dead end for him. So it's definitely a good lesson. It was a good lesson for him to learn. I mean, he's never obviously going to have the opportunity to make that mistake again. He's not going to live through this winter. So it's definitely kind of sad, but I picked that passage because I thought it was a good place to make a prediction and you could see what was coming.